Okay, in this video, we are going to go through some of the sample answers from workbook, okay, on the chapter of sound. Okay, starting with question 2b. Right, the question reads, describe how the sound travels through air to reach the ear of the person striking the bell. Right, okay, so noticing that there are about 4 to 5 lines over here, okay, we need to write about minimum 3 points. Okay, it is described, so we are not going to need to do an explanation. Okay, but we do notice that the question is about how sound travels through air. Okay, so something about how the air particles are being moved, okay, by the sound wave. Okay, eventually reach the air. Okay, and uh, okay, starting from the striking of the bell. Right. Okay, so in the answer, right, okay, the entire sequence of action all starts because of the striking of the bell, right? Okay, so we can talk about, okay, how the vibrating bell, right, causes layers of air particles around it to shift, right? Okay, so movement of the air particles. Okay, and this movement, okay, results in a series of alternate high pressure regions called compressions and low pressure regions called rarefactions. Okay, so notice that we drop in the keywords compression, we drop in the keyword rarefaction, right? Okay, and the word alternate over here, right, okay, is important also because we know that for compression and rarefaction, right, okay, they happened in the pattern of C followed by a R, C followed by a R, okay, and therefore alternate. Okay, so it would be not accurate if it is just say that it's series of compression and rarefactions, okay, because it can be like a CCRR, okay, or whatever, right? Okay, and continue, right? So the compressions, the series of compressions and rarefactions, right? Okay, they travel outwards, okay, and propagate through air to reach the ear of the person. So notice that this links back to the question which talks about to reach the ear of the person. Okay, and by that we kind of like have finished the description. Okay, but we also want to talk about the nature of the sound wave itself. So if you notice like this is a 3 marks question, you can add on by talking about direction of all this movement, right? Direction of vibration of the air particle is parallel to the direction in which the sound wave travels. Okay, the idea of sound being a longitudinal wave, right? Okay, so this is a third point, okay, which you can add in if this question demands more than 2 marks. Right, okay, so this is question 2b, right? Okay, and I drop in a link over here. If you want to, you can come to this link, right? Okay, and take a look. I find that there is a nice simulation, right? Okay, of this longitudinal wave also, right? Okay, so if you notice how the air particles are moving, right? Okay, just focus on one of the red color dots. Okay, you will notice that it is moving left and right, right? So the displacement is leftwards and rightwards, parallel to the direction of propagation of the compressions and rarefactions. Okay, so in this simulation, you can also see how the uh, one end of the container, okay, as it's being pushed forward, okay, pushes the air particles, okay, and squeezes them together to form a compression, okay, and then the opposite happens, right, okay, as it pulls away, right, there's a region of lower density of air, lower pressure, and the rarefaction is formed, right, okay, so, uh, right, okay, it has this thing, right, okay, that shows you red color for region of high pressure, blue color for region of lower pressure, rarefaction. Okay, so if you zoom out and look at the entire wave, okay, how the wave profile, okay, propagates forward. Okay, moving on. Right, okay, so you can pause the video here for a little while, okay, to copy the answer over. Next question we're going to talk about is question 3. Right, question 3, we have a ringing bell jar, right, okay, suspended, yeah, so the electric bell is suspended inside bell jar by a thin string. Vacuum pump is used to draw air out of the bell jar. Okay, when the pump is not switched on, ringing of the bell can be heard. when the pump is switched on, loudness of the sound decreases until a very faint sound can be heard. Okay, notice that this is not silence but very faint sound. Okay, command word is explained, so you have to give certain reason, right, okay, behind the happening. Right, okay, so again, you look at the number lines, it's going to be about at least three things to say. Okay, so and we kind of understand that, with the vacuum pump happening, okay, it is going to draw out air particles from uh, inside the bell jar, right, okay, to draw it away. Right, okay, so before I go into the explanation, right, okay, you can go to Google this uh, inside YouTube, right, okay, and view the video, right, okay, and after that, coming back to the question, okay, so we note that, okay, we can first start off by saying that, okay, sound waves need a medium to travel in, right, okay, so we can go straight in with the explanation, okay, and so vibrations of the ringing bell, right, causes air particles to vibrate, okay, the air in the bell jar provides the medium, okay, to transmit the sound wave, right, so we need a medium, okay, to transmit the sound wave from the bell to the bell jar. Okay, the sound waves are then transmitted from the bell jar through the surrounding air to our ears. Okay, so the next part, right, so this first lines, okay, it's about the first, is answering to the first part of the question to explain why the ringing of the bell can be heard. Right, so notice that we start off by explaining this part first. Okay, then after that, then you start off to explain why vacuum pump switch on, loudness decreases until very faint sound. Okay, so that's the next two lines of the explanation. So the vacuum pump, okay, being activated, okay, is telling us that there's removal of the air particles, okay, and therefore smaller number of air particles inside the bell jar. Okay, and thus sound waves transmitted to outside with decreasing effectiveness, loudness decreases. Right, okay, but you notice that over here, faint sound is not zero sound. Okay, so the faint sound indicates that the bell jar still contains some air. It is not a perfect vacuum. Okay, this is because the vacuum pump does not create a complete vacuum inside the bell jar. Right, so it is still a partial vacuum inside the bell jar. So it still gives out some sound. Alright, so you notice that explain this explanation, you have to go by like sound line by line, because the observation itself is not just talking about the last part where the sound goes away, but it starts off with the beginning, there is sound, and then afterwards there's no sound. Alright, okay, so again, pause the video here for a little bit, okay, and copy the answer over. Okay, so these are samples for you to uh, see how, describe how, explain questions, uh, can be answered in a very full, complete manner. Okay, for you to emulate later on. Second part of this question, right? He goes on to talk about. Okay, it is a describe question now. Describe and explain what will happen if the bell jar is not suspended by the string. Okay, but it rests on the base supporting the bell jar instead. Right, okay, so you need to describe first, okay, what will happen first. Right, okay, so resting on the base, okay, so you notice that the base is a solid, right, okay, and therefore the sound is going to pass through the solid base, okay, because solid, very densely packed, okay, is going to be a very good medium for the sound wave to travel through. Okay, so what's going to happen, right? Okay, would be there will not be a significant reduction, right, of the loudness of the bell. It's going to sound, almost as equally loud, right? Even when the air is removed by the vacuum pump. Okay, this is because, so the next part goes into the explain part, right? Bell jar is in direct contact with the base. The sound waves are propagated directly through the base. You can mention that the base is solid, right? Okay, through the base to the air surrounding the bell jar. Then through the air, right? Okay, again creates a series of compression, alternating compression rarefaction, right? Okay, which propagates through the air, right? Okay, to reach our ear. Okay, right? Okay, so this is a describe and explain question. Right, again, pause the video here, right, okay, and copy the answer over. Okay, the last question that I will want to talk about, okay, to give you the sample answer is this interesting one. Okay, question 10. Ultrasound being used to study an unborn baby. Right, okay, so the aim over here, we want to describe how the vibrations of the source produce waves of ultrasound, okay, and how these waves are transmitted through the body tissues to the receiver. Okay, so notice this is described. Okay, and the aim over here, okay, uh, starts from transmitted through the body tissues to the receiver, right? Okay, so the uh, if you look at the diagram that's given to us, so the body tissues, okay, the source, okay, needs to go through the body tissue, and then, right, okay, there's this, point over here that shows some sort of reflection happening, right? Okay, and then, okay, after the reflection, the rebounded beam, right, okay, gets picked up by a receiver. Okay, so the diagram over here, right, okay, contains a little bit of clue. Right, okay, so we start off by saying that, right, okay, we notice the keyword vibration, right? Okay, so we start off by talking about this, okay, vibration. So the source vibrates, okay, so remember that this is ultrasound, okay, which is still a sound wave, okay, just of very high frequency beyond the hearing, uh, range of our ears, okay, but it is still a sound, okay, so therefore we talk about vibrates, okay, not radiates, right, okay, but the source vibrates, okay, pushing and pulling on the molecules of the body tissue next to it, okay, so you notice that the source is actually making contact, right, okay, with the this is actually the belly of the mother, right, okay, so it is in contact with the belly, right, okay, of the mother, right, okay, and so it will vibrate actually the molecules of the body tissue, right, to which it is in direct contact with. When layers of the molecules of the body tissue are pushed close together, okay, compression is formed. Okay, so now the medium, okay, of the for the ultrasound is actually not air, but actually the body tissues, okay, which is a bit like a solid. Okay, so regions compressions being region of high pressure. Okay, and then when the layers of the molecules are pulled apart, right, the source of the ultrasound source is moving away a little bit. Okay, a rarefaction is formed. Okay, molecules of the body tissue vibrate in a direction parallel to the progression of ultrasound in its longitudinal wave. Right, okay, and then when the sound wave hits the denser body tissues, right, denser body tissues, right, okay, meaning the bones, typically, okay, talking about the bones, right, okay, because the other layers of the body tissues will be like fat, water, right, okay, muscle, okay, these are less dense, right, okay, muscles are a little bit denser, okay, but bones, right, okay, will be the most dense. So when the sound wave hits the denser body tissues, it is reflected back, right, through the body and then detected by the receiver. Okay, so as mentioned, if you look at the diagram over here, right, okay, there is this part, right, okay, where the reflection happens. So you kind of like have to think about um, why it reflects, right, okay, to talk about the denser body tissue, right, okay, having an idea about what, okay, the ultrasound, picks up, right, okay, the picture that is picks up, you will remember that it's a picture of like, denser materials like bones, outlines of the bones, right, okay, the skull, right, okay, of the inside the head, and so on. Alright, okay, so and from there you can make a guess about, yeah, it is actually reflected, okay, because it hits a denser body tissue, right, okay, which because there is a difference in the there's a big difference in the density, okay, the sound wave, right, okay, encountering this difference in the density, okay, some of it will be reflected back. Okay, right, okay, so again you can pause the video over here, right, okay, and copy the answer over. Alright, okay, so that is all, okay, that I'm going through for 12A, sorry, the A part of this, I think it's 14A, right, okay, worksheet, right, okay, so you can complete the worksheet, right? Okay, and submit following the date that I've indicated to you.